All right, the music's kicking into overdrive, so you already know what time it is. I am Thanasi. This is the MoneyShift YouTube channel, and what you are watching is a 10-minute summary of this week's automotive news, giving you everything you need to stay up to date and in the know with everything automotive. So with the 10-minute constraint known, let's get right into it. We're actually going to start off with the fine folks over at Hoonigan. Now, you know Hoonigan for doing all this crazy, slidey, drifty, closing down cities, just doing a bunch of nutso stuff. And they come to play every year with what seemingly is the craziest car we've ever seen. Now, Hoonigan teamed up with Subaru and Vermont Sports Car to build this. This is a 1983 Subaru GL wagon that has just been converted to be a totally nutso thing. I love Hoonigan's approach to what automobiles they select. We've all played Forza, we've all played Gran Turismo, or at the very least, you can imagine what you can do in a video game where you can place the biggest engine or the most power into the smallest thing or something that wouldn't have gotten this attention otherwise. I mean, guys, we are looking at a 1983 Subaru GL wagon. This isn't an STI, this isn't a sports car, this is an 80s run-of-the-mill wagon that now has nearly 900 horsepower. The folks over at Vermont Sports Car worked their magic and made this thing an absolute beast. Now, you guys may thinking, who is Vermont Sports Car? Well, let me give you the quick TLDR. Vermont Sports Car is the entity that creates the vehicles that Subaru uses in rallying outside of a WRC type environment. So it's what they use in the North American Rally Championship. It's who they use to develop the cars that they race in China. They just make some badass machines, including the previous Hoonigan machine, the Subaru STI, that did some wild stuff like this jump. Holy cow, this was crazy to watch live, and if you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely check that out. Oddly enough, Travis Pastrana's favorite thing about the Subaru GL wagon is its visibility. He claims that thanks to the fact that this is an 80s Subaru wagon, that he'll be able to see his obstacles and be able to get closer to the wall, be able to have more angle, more drifting, etc., etc., etc. And I am excited to see this brick of a machine just dice it up in the next Hoonigan video. But this seemingly elevated crazy rally car brings us into the 2022 WRC Championship, and it does so with a perfect segue that I couldn't have written better if I tried. And not that I write this would probably be better if I wrote it in advance. But anyway, here we are, okay? And this is Ford's entry into the 2022 WRC Championship. Now, last week, for you amazing money shifters that have been following along to our news videos, you saw the craziness that was the Hyundai i20 WRC. Well, here's Ford's offering. It is the Puma Rally 1. Now, you may say to yourself, T, what the frick is a Ford Puma? And I'll tell you, okay, this is what the stock Ford Puma looks like, and it is a European small SUV. Think about it as an eco sport, but better looking. That truly is what the Ford Puma is. Now, this car, just like any WRC machine, leverages a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine with some hybrid power. That engine on its own makes 380 horsepower with the hybrid power, but over the course of a rally stage, you have the ability to take that up to 500, which is crazy. While the engine and horsepower ratings are standardized, something that isn't is how you regenerate that power. WRC has claimed that if you are able to regenerate more power through braking, you're going to have the ability to boost more during the rally. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ford, Toyota, and Hyundai go about that process, because it's going to be different for each of those cars, which brings us right into Toyota, who also uncovered their final version of their Rally 1 contender, and this is the Gazoo Racing Yaris Rally 1. Again, just like the Puma, just like the Hyundai, you're looking at a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that on its own makes 380 horsepower. With the hybrid power, it makes up to 500 in short bursts, which is crazy. Compared to their predecessors, these rally cars are actually around 150 pounds heavier than their previous cars, but they have a little more aero to deal with. The WRC sanctioning body says that these cars will have similar speed to Group B, which is kind of nutso. And if you're interested in WRC for the first time, you're in luck, because today is the season opener. January 20, 2022, these cars are in France, and you should go check it out because it's going to be awesome. There is Sebastian Loeb, who is one of the best rally drivers of all time, coming back to the series with Ford, and we just get to see how the new cars do perform, look, sound, etc. But the Toyota Gazoo Racing Yaris machine brings us right into the next bit of news, which comes by way of Toyota. January 25th at 9:30 p.m., Toyota will be unveiling their brand new Toyota Sequoia. Now, you guys might not even know what the Sequoia is. That's not an indictment on you, by the way. Toyota doesn't really showcase these as much as they should. This is the SUV version of the Toyota Tundra, so it leverages a lot of similarities, a lot of the same tech, a lot of the same interior, a lot of the same exterior as the existing Tundra, and as a result, we have a good understanding of what we can expect, right? The Tundra is currently on dealer lots, and it's a known commodity. It leverages a twin-turbo, 3.5-liter V6 that makes 389 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque, but, and this is a big but and a spicy but, yikes, that was weird. But there's also a hybrid version available on the Toyota Tundra, which brings that horsepower number up from 389 to 437. But more importantly, it brings that torque number up from 479 to 583. And you better believe that those powertrains are going to make it to the Sequoia. Look for it to look like a Tundra with a cap on the back. That is what they have looked like historically. And if these two previews are any inclination, we're likely going to be getting something similar. And I am very excited to see what this looks like. But as we wind down this episode, let's take everybody, put them on a plane, and go right to Tokyo, where we're going to talk about 4 cars that were unveiled in the Tokyo Auto Salon. Both of them, or all 4 of them, are from Subaru and Toyota. First, we're going to start out with the boring stuff. Toyota and Subaru unveiled performance versions of their newest electric offering. Subaru showcased the Solterra STI concept, which had no performance improvements, but it had, a lot of aesthetic upgrades. So roof spoiler, some body panels, some cherry red, which is very STI, and it really is trying to just make the car appear and look more sporty. Toyota did the exact same by unveiling a BZ4X GR Sport, which admittedly, in my opinion, did a slightly better job at making the relatively similar, in fact, virtually identical electric SUV appear more sporty. But that's not why we're here. That's not why we're talking about these two companies. Why we're talking about them is because they also unveiled some pretty badass machines. In Subaru's camp, they unveiled this, the STI ERA, and it is a 4 electric motor wild machine, making 1,073 horsepower thanks to those 4 motors that were, by the way, supplied by Yamaha. This thing leverages a 60 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery pack to just make the whole operation come together. Now, why did Subaru make this? Well, in Subaru's words, they see it as the potential for the future of motorsport. Everything is going to be transitioning towards electric, so why not start to develop what it could look like? Subaru plans to take this to the Nürburgring with a goal time of 6 minutes and 40 seconds. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I wish they would take it to Pikes Peak as well. That hill climb located in Colorado is one of the most exciting events and a great use for an electric vehicle. Volkswagen took their IDR up it and did a crazy time. And that's not to say that this Subaru would be faster, but it would be interesting to see how it would compare. But let's end with what I think is one of the best looking concept cars in the last 10 years. This is the Toyota GR GT3. Now, no details of this thing were unveiled. We don't know what's powering it. We don't know what its use is. We don't know really why the hell's Toyota even made it. But what I can say is that this 2000 GT inspired with a little dash of Supra race car looks positively insane. insane. And it's an internal combustion engine machine. If you look behind that front wheel, you'll see exhaust pipes. One thing that I do want to note as we close out this episode is Toyota has put a lot of investment in powering internal combustion engines by hydrogen. In fact, right now, today, they race in endurance racing a Toyota Corolla hatchback with hydrogen power. So it's hydrogen powering internal combustion engine. So Toyota does see that as an avenue to extend the internal combustion engine. And this GT3 car is a development car aimed at attracting the potential racers in the GT3 category, which is a category that is expanding in where those cars can race. Toyota today has a Supra that competes in GT4. They have a Supra that competes in NASCAR. They have a Supra that competes in drag racing, but they don't have anything in the GT3 class. So this is previewing what could potentially be there. Well, that wraps up our 10 minutes. Thank you everybody for tuning in and watching. Appreciate it. If you like this content, do not forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel where you can be notified when we release these episodes weekly. I am Thanasi. This is Money Shift, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.